Good evening, everyone. This is a hour or so after. In fact, I know because I said on the video it was 4:15. It's 5:10. 55 minutes since I last videoed. I have tidied the desk as I promised I would. I have edited the video, rough and ready. It'll do. It's fine, and that's currently uploading to YouTube. I think I've forgotten to put it on a schedule though, so it's probably just going to go live straight away and the blog won't be updated and stuff like that. I don't really care. Okay, so I've done all of that. I've also made a card. So remember that scrap of paper that I left on my desk? I just thought, sod it, just get it used. I have all of these pouches which have got cut up DSP in them, and I decided just bung a few flowers and a bit of paper on it. And I already had a heat embossed sentiment because I keep those sorts of things in my little randoms plate. And there was one that just worked perfectly. Little happy birthday. Used a scrap of coloured cardstock, mounted it up, bit of foam underneath that panel so it's all up, and then inside, nice simple. Again, another one of those little bits of DSP cut up. Perfect. I've not added any gems. Do I need to add a gem? Probably not, but I'll leave it to one side. I might add a gem before it goes onto the blog. So I've done all that and then thought, right, I'm going to make another card. I've probably only got 45 minutes until I really need to go and cook some tea for the family, because you know people like to eat apparently. It's me that likes to eat more than anybody else. So yeah, so I thought, right, start videoing again, try and keep on the theme, but I did have a thought about what to do. So Jennifer Maguire, in the last few days, possibly yesterday, maybe the day before, no, I think it was yesterday, uploaded a video reminding me about Heat Emboss Resist. So that's made me go, oh, shall I do Heat Emboss Resist? But then I went to go and do Heat Emboss Resist and I grabbed this Tropical Hideaway stamps. Now, I did mention briefly, probably in a really waffly kind of way, I am trying to go through my stash and really justify, do I need to keep it? Do I get rid of it? Clear the decks a little bit in the hope that I might clear some shelves, tidy up a little bit and try and, yeah, rationalise what I've got because I've got too much stuff. So I am kind of assessing each stamp set as I go, and I used this a few days ago. I have now no memory as to the card that I made. I have a basket of recently made stuff. It probably is still in here. I can't share most of this because it's all design team stuff. There we go. I did this, which I love, on the craft with, in fact, this was months ago now. I'm sure I've used it again since then, but on craft with Distress Oxides painting in and then loads of gold. Beautiful. Okay, I'm sure I did another one. Do you know what? I might have already used the card. Maybe that's why it's not here. Or it's already been filed. Maybe it's already been filed. When I say filed, there is a basket over. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to grab it because I'm really obsessed with now showing you what I did. So this is the basket of birthday cards and anniversary cards that I have made. Aha, there it is. Ready with their envelopes and stuff. That's the ones that have yet to be filed, or they are not birthday or anniversary specific cards. They're like hi, hey, hello, thanks cards. This was the one that I made using that stamp, and I did it on, yes, I'd forgotten what I'd done. It was it's glossy, you can see the shine. It's glossy cardstock, like photo printing paper, stamped in the black, and but the glossy paper is what I've used to wipe up. So when I've done the smooshing technique where you put your ink down and you wet it, and then I then, rather than just wiping that away on with a cloth or whatever, I use the glossy cardstock to pick it up, and it becomes more permanent. and create some nice fun effects. So that was what the background of that one was, and then it was just different greens. So that's what I'd used the other day, and I was assessing whether I keep or get rid, and I think I was on the undecided, as in I think I want a few more uses out of it before I get rid. So I thought, right, I'll grab that stamp set again, try and remember to use that again, and maybe I'll do Heat Emboss and then Resist, and then I'll paint with the colours. But then I remembered somebody had put something on Instagram this morning, and I saw it and I liked it, and I commented to her that I might have to steal that idea, and that was actually just doing different colours. And I think she'd done it for like a colour challenge, and she'd done it with blue and yellow and green or something. I can't remember the exact colours. Right, so let me just remember. Her Instagram handle was YVO. I'm going to go and look it up. Hang on, let's get it right. Okay, I wrote it down. So it's at YVON0202. So Yvonne0202. That's her YouTube handle. I think she's Dutch. Definitely a Stampin' Up! And demonstrator person. And I said, oh, I think I want to steal that idea because I really liked it. And thought, there's another use of that Hideaway, Tropical Hideaway stamp. So as I got it out, I remembered that, even though it was only this morning I'd seen it, but you know, that's how my memory works. So I thought, oh, I'm going to give that a go. Then I had a different idea. This is how my brain works. It works on like 3 different levels. Doesn't like looking in one thing. I don't think I've got ADHD, but do you know what? Wouldn't be at all surprising from the way my brain sometimes works. No, I'm jesting. I absolutely know I don't have ADHD, and I feel for those people that do have that. But you know what I mean? You know when you're just like, oh, I'm all over the place. So I then had a different idea, and that's the one I'm actually going to do. But I just thought I'd share with you that I've got 3 ideas on the go for using this stamp set, and therefore it'll be at least 3 cards before I think, okay, I've done with that stamp set, I'm not going to use it again. And it's really nice when you get a stamp set that you can come up with lots of different ideas for. So without further ado, I'm going to turn you around and then you can see what I'm doing. Okay, apologies if it's a little bit wobbly. It sometimes does that whilst it's adjusting. So I've put it in my stamp platform because the technique that I want means I'm going to be going in with multiple colours, different times, etc. And I thought, see what this Yvonne, I'm going to guess that's her actual name, but you never can tell from handles. What she'd done was sort of like a stripe of colour, but it was sort of blended into each other, which was beautiful. But I'm thinking, I've got all of these Stampin' Write markers. I have quite a lot of them. Some of them are all old, like different kinds of in colours and various bits and pieces. I thought if I just grab all my greeny tealy colours and we'll see what we come up with. Right, I think that's all my greens. The others are more blues than greens. Right. But I very rarely use my Stampin' Write markers, so I thought now is the time. So I'm going to start with my lightest colours, and I'm starting with just doing a bit of scribbling. Okay, and I'm going to select particular leaves, but I'm not going to be particularly bothered about them being perfect. We can go in later and fiddle with colour blending, especially since this is the lightest colour, and we'll see what we come up with. Now, when you do this, because you've been colouring it, and you might have taken a little while to do it, it's usually best to just give it a little spritz. This might start to lose its definition. Sorry, before I do anything else, I am going to take this paper down into place because it's likely to move. And I don't mind the fact that I will have bits of it with tape so it's not going to print on that because I'll just cut it down. Okay, and I'm just going to stick that down. There is inking number 1. Right, I'm not going to bother cleaning anything. I am literally just going to go in with the next colour I want to use. See what happens there. And because there's water down on this already, it's sort of already starting to move and blend a bit. And I'm not after precision. That's not what I'm after with this. I'm after a sort of watercolory look in the end. And we'll see what happens with that. I'm just going to give it 1 spritz. When I'm spritzing from a distance. I'm not going right up close because I think that will puddle the water a little bit too much. I mean, it's already going to be quite wet, but we'll see what happens with that. Right, I'm going to go in with a different colour now. And they are going to blend to each other a little bit. So, and I'm not bothered about that. I'm not bothered about the fact that I want to keep my nib pristine either, because you know what, I rarely use these and it's never about precision colouring or anything along those lines. So I'm fine with the fact that this potentially might muddy a couple of nibs. They're all in the same colour family, so it'll all be fine, I'm sure. I'm also thinking probably would have been wise to have used watercolour cardstock and not the plain cardstock I'm using, but you know what? Sometimes you learn, and sometimes it turns out not to really matter. So we'll see if this is one of those times or not. Again, I'm not really thinking about where I'm colouring apart from the fact that I'm trying to now cover some of the areas we've not covered. Oh, this is looking beautiful. I think we might go in with quite a deep green there. And down here, not got anything down here. I think this needs a bit more inking. That one probably needs holding down a little bit more. I can see that my paper's warped a little bit. So potentially some of it just needs a little bit more. I realised I didn't add ink to that one. Water to that one, which is fine. And then there's a bit up here that we've not touched. Do you want to put in a bit more colour here? Just down the centre of some of these leaves. And this is like really easy. You don't have to think too much, just literally add the colour. Probably too much water again. Loving it, loving it. Not sure how well you can see that. In fact, I'm just going to zoom in. How well can you see that? Can you see how it's sort of all splodgy and a bit funky? Liking it. Now I'm going to lift this up and remove it. And I'm going to go and grab some watercolour cardstock because I think that would be even better. So I have some pieces of, well, it's mixed media cardstock, but that handles the water really well. So we're going to add that. I'm just going to tape it in place because what I don't want is it to shift completely. And then we're just going to go in again on some of these and do a second card. And some of this will still be wet and some of it will be dry. Let's see how much of it we need to re-ink. And I am pressing quite hard to try and make sure that we've got some impression going into this mixed media cardstock. Ooh, so there's quite a lot. Not quite there. So we'll go back in with some of those colours that we've used previously. again, I know I'm doing this sort of a little bit off camera. I'm going to do two different colours at once this time, just to cover up some of those bits that we've not yet looked at. And I'm sort of looking at this on this side and just going, right, what else needs to be done? Right, I think this will probably be enough for this one. And I didn't re-wet the stamp because it was quite wet already. Perfect. Okay, really happy with that. So I need it to dry. I'm going to lift it to one side, let it dry, and then just have this. I would normally use a baby wipe, but I have run out of baby wipes, it turns out. So instead, I'm just going to use my stamp cleaner spray and my cloth. In fact, I think I am going to use the stamp scrub because that will get into all of the crevices of the stamp. But stamp platform's done and dusted. That's a water spray, Catherine, not your stamping mist. Put on a stamp block because it's just easier to hold. That's better. I love how it smells. It smells delightful. Right, that is ready for going back into there. And now we just need to think about how we might use these two fabulous backgrounds we've created. So you can see it's sort of smudged and blended around some of the inks, different colours. Completely different to how Yvonne did hers, but it just, that was my inspiration, was the different colours. In fact, you know, I'm quite tempted to make another background. Having just cleaned the stamp. Don't be daft, Catherine. You've just cleaned your stamp, don't do that. But now, Yvonne did team hers with the Nature's Prints, not the actual stamps, although I think she used the sentiment, but she used the dies. Right, that took a little while. Sorry. So she used the Nature's Prints dies. She used this to create a wreath in the couple of colours that was being used on the colour challenge. And it made me remember that I don't use these very often, apart from maybe the big sprig, which is indeed one of the things that I'd used on one of those other cards I shared earlier. But I'm thinking that that's quite nice, but I don't think I want to use that. I love wreath dies, but that one just, I think because it's that wee bit wider, I don't know, maybe I'll cut it anyway and see. But I'm definitely thinking I really like that. Just not sure I want to use these other dies. But what I am thinking is Forever Fern. Not used this for ages. So this is the Forever Flourishing dies that go with Forever Fern, and I'm thinking that would be fabulous. Cut in a dark green. So I'm thinking I'll go with that for the moment. So let's put those off to one side. Now, do I want to do it dark green or do I want to do it multicoloured? No, I think I want to do it dark green. So I'm going to put all my pens away. Look at me trying to tidy up as I go along. Wow. Right, I need some cardstock. Problem is, when it's on dark in this room, my lighting is not brilliant. It's fine above the desk, but it's not great for the view that I've got for most of the craft room. Now, do I want to go with which is Shaded Spruce. I think I do. That's really nice. Okay, well, let's start by thinking about that being die cut from here, a few of those, and then using it as the background. And then maybe we'll go white with the sentiment on it. Let's see how we go. Okay, so I have cut it out twice because, as I have said on previous cards, I really like stacking dies up to give them more dimension and to give them strength. And this will, I'm only going to do the one extra layer, but it just gives it that extra sturdiness. Now, because this, I normally would use like Pritt stick, but this is quite a fiddly die. So I think I need the flexibility of the glue. So normally it's very fiddly, so I thought I'll turn it into silent because it'll be silent anyway whilst I concentrate, and I thought I'd be there for ages, so I'd probably be put it in double speed. I didn't need to because it actually went together absolutely perfectly. So let's have a little look. I have got a piece that I just cut. I've just cut it straight down the middle at 10.5 centimetres. Isn't it weird how sometimes we do inches and sometimes we do centimetres, but that's how it works. So I've got that piece for there. And then, do we want the watery one on the harder or on the... I think we'll go for that one. But I also think I'm going to do a bit of a Martin's Mayhem thing. So what he does is he actually creates a panel that then automatically sits up that's always just that little bit smaller. Bear with me whilst I just cut it down. If I was sensible, I'd get my bigger trimmer out and use that, but it's leaving fluffy edges because I haven't replaced the blades, so I'm going to do it. That's the point where it is, so I just want to go a little bit off there. And by eye, that'll work in terms of creating a reasonable border around the edges. That'll be fine. And now I want this to sit inside that. So it might feel like, Catherine, you've got lots of layers going on there. You probably didn't need to, but for me, I really like this kind of look of matting and layering, but keeping to the same background of the original, and that just, when it raises it up, it just gives it that little bit of something different going on. I like that. So my first things first is I'm absolutely going to just stick this in place, because normally the advice is don't stick until you're certain, until you've done everything, but I'm absolutely certain that this is how I want this bit to look. So I am going to go for it and just immediately put it into place. Now, using a Pritt stick means you get a teensy bit of wiggle room, but not much, in order to try and get it straight. I'm happy with that though. But you can see it's got a wider border there and slightly wider than it has on the other two sides. So I've got the opportunity to just do a teensy trim. This trim is great for doing very fine amounts of trimming. Although it's a little bit finicky. What's the right word there? Not entirely sure, but I love that. Love that. Now, I wanted to use that little banner die, didn't I? And now I'm not entirely sure I do. have a little think about that. Don't you love it when it goes silent on a YouTube video because the person's thinking, can you hear the cogs turning? I'm thinking I like that, but I am thinking I want something white in the middle to just differentiate between that and the background. So I'm just going to cut. I've got a scrap of paper here that was left over from the project that I did on the last YouTube video. And I'm thinking that works better with maybe the... Might just go and get another piece of green out because clearly that's not going to fit, but maybe that going across. No, I don't want the green. Ooh, I'm in an orange, but I am thinking I need another bit of that green out to use. Which is fine. It is a colour I've got plenty of in the stash. Okay, I am going to have to use my big tray. I think that with that, but I'm thinking about embossing that. Right, bear with. Okay, I've had a bit of a hunt in the stash and I have found this lovely ferny kind of embossing folder. It's like a 3D embossing folder, and I'm thinking that will make a perfect background to that. So I'm just going to shove it through the machine. Love the texture on that, so pretty. Right, I'm going to stick this down. I'm going to add the glue to that as well as gently, so I don't disturb any of that beautiful embossing texture. Add a little bit to the other side as well. And then I can see that the borders aren't quite straight. Can't quite even, sorry, but again, this is good because it allows me to get rid of that bit of fluffy cutting that's coming off my main trimmer. Perfect. Now, thinking that onto there, but I am thinking maybe some twine or some kind of soft texture. I have got a couple of things like silvery ribbons. That's definitely not the right thing to go with that. Want something quite earthy, don't we? Oh, we also have a really funky button. Is that enough for me to kind of go? Right, I can absolutely ignore the colour of the sentiment, but I'm just thinking, would that work? Let's zoom in. Do we just want a strip coming off? Sorry, I'm just I'm delving in the little tray of things that are over here. That's a potential. Just thinking of the biggest wish. Stamp set, which is one of my favourite go-tos. Oh, look at this. We've got some green ones already stamped. And some black. No, we don't want to use black. I keep going to black. It's just like my go-to at the moment. Really like those two together, but I'm thinking no to the button. Still thinking twine. And obviously if we can use things that have already been stamped, that makes it all quicker. Because time is getting towards the tea time zone. So a little front. Do we just want to use, there we go. Perfect. Let's use the one that we seem to have the least of. Just get it used. That's the theory for this year, isn't it? Just get it used. Right. I think we start with the sticking down. Now, do I want this bit raised a bit? I think I do. So I use, I've mentioned this before, I use Children's Fun Foam rather than using little foam tabs, etc. Because it seems to be more cost effective, but also it's more sturdy because it's the full piece rather than just little bits, so it doesn't sag in the middle. Or you don't think, oh, I've got to use 60,000 different tabs in order to make it not sink. Now, you'll see that I started off straight, and then as I was assembling it, I sort of went wonky, and I quite like the wonkiness. So we're going to stick with wonky. Then we're going to use the glue rather than the Pritt Stick glue in order to just stick it down, and I'm mainly sticking towards the centre because it might hang off a bit, but I also quite like that little bit of looseness to it, and because it is to depth, there's 2 layers to the die cut, it's got the sturdiness. It can cope with being a little bit loose. It shouldn't sort of bend so much or fold on itself. Sorry, I'm just conscious there's a little bit there that's just a bit weird. I seem to have lost my pokey tool. There it is. See how there's just that little flap? There we go. Just a bit of loose card from the die cut that had hung around. And I think we'll go with wrapping, maybe. Do we want to wrap it? Like so. Maybe. Or do we want a bow? Sometimes you just have to try everything. See which one you like the most without committing to anything. Not convinced by this birthday yet. That might get replaced by something else, but quite like this because it picks up on those more olivey greens in the background. I quite like the bow. Right, let's make a proper bow as opposed to that messy thing that we were doing there. And I think we'll go for it being 3 strands because we can. Because again, just use it up, Catherine. There's no need to hoard. Use your supplies, that's what they're there for. And then we can cut those into ends in a minute. Do like that. Do we want that to be matte and layered? No, because it already fades into the background. But I do think we are ready to cut the tails on this. Now there is a little bit of sparkle to this trim. It's one I bought years and years ago in, I think it was TK Maxx. Like a set of, they're quite, you can see it's probably quite linen-y coloured, but the colour that goes through it has got a bit of sparkle to it. I don't know how well that shows up on the video, but it has indeed got that sparkle. Now, I always try with my ribbons to use a glue dot to start off with, but then I usually end up securing it more with actual glue. Just to make sure it definitely sticks. So it's not the heaviest of blocks, but it's better than nothing. And it's Catherine trying to tidy a little bit off as she goes. And I think we might need to use a different birthday to go with this. But which birthday to use? Kind of feel like I just want a thin, I mean almost, I think it's this birthday that's on this. That'll work. Right, that's a paper artsy stamp. Didn't end up going for a paper artsy stamp, partly because I can't find them. But I was thinking if I stamped that and then I cut it off at where it says girl or boy or whichever one, that would work better because it would give me my white outline. I think that's the best way to do it. No, I think masking it might be the best way to do it so that it finishes. Let's do it that way. Right, we need a green. I think we'll go for actually a Tranquil Tide as a slight, no, sorry. I've still got some of these on my desk. Oh, that's Tranquil Tide anyway. Okay, let's see if this works better. We will use this. Sorry, this tape, you need to take the tape off first, Catherine, before you stamp it. That was terrible. Let's try again. With the actual ink pad. That works better, and I think that's the right size for what I'm after. But I'm very flummoxed as to where those paper artsy stamps are that I originally was going to use. But I've absolutely not got the patience stroke time to now search for them. But I am very confused as to where it's gone. But yeah, that's a good idea always to look at stamps. So things like this where it says birthday girl, birthday boy, but actually all I just want is the birthday element. If you mask off part of it, ink it up, then take the masking off, it works perfectly. And I'm thinking that across there maybe would work well. But I'm going to stick this down first. I'm thinking it needs a bit of strengthening though, so I'm just going to take a little bit of cardstock to stick behind it, just to give it that bit of strength, because it's quite, again, it's that flimsy cardstock that I wish I'd never bought, but I have, so I'm trying my best to find ways of using it effectively. I think that's the right way to do it. And then this one, do I actually want this one matting and layering or just sticking on? Ooh. Let's go for matte and layer. Again, gives it strength anyway, so, and if I don't like it, I just trim it or I stamp it again. Sorry, I realised I'm doing that off screen again. Do I want that like so? Yeah, I think I do. Right. Happy with that. And then this can be raised up on some foam on here, or actually I don't think I'm going to raise it. I think I'm just going to leave it flat because it's already got quite a bit of depth with that bow now on the top. I think we'll do it flat. But I'm going to put plenty of the Pritt stick down. A little bit on the edges, just to give it that bit of extra stick around the edge. And then that nice extra layer. Now, bit of sparkle. Do we want a bit of sparkle? I think we do. Ooh, let's go for those. Flowers for Every Season gems. I've had these for ages. I still use them. There's still quite a few left, so I imagine I'll be using them for a little while. So a little dot of glue, probably too much glue there, and we're just going to stick 3 down, I think, and we're going to use the green ones rather than the clear ones. So if you have like a pokey tool that's got a sticky end, that would be perfect. I don't, so I just use my fingers and hope for the best when I'm putting them down. And I think I've just used the 3 of the same size. Right, that's far too much glue, so I'm just taking some up with my finger and laying it down. It will dry clear, so don't worry if it splodges out the side a little bit, it will be fine. But that just adds that little bit of sparkle to my card, and I think I'm done. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm done there. Let's put a little bit of plain behind the card so you can see it well. And let's learn from the mistake that you discovered earlier, which is don't leave the glue lid off. Really should be tidying up now. Probably won't, because I need to go and cook tea. Right, managed to put a few tools away, a few bits and pieces away. The rest can all stay out, and I'll do that in a bit. Okay, so I'm really happy with that. The idea came from a couple of different places in terms of sparking the mojo off. Clearly, I've still got another background I can use, so I'm going to shove that immediately into my little backgrounds wallet of stuff. So over on the side of my desk, I have a little wallet. It's got all these backgrounds in it. Ready for crafting when I feel like using those. But I'm happy with that little funky green card. I think I will put a little insert in. Bear with me whilst I just, you know what, if I don't do it now, it won't happen, will it? So let's do that straight away. There's my little insert. Dead quick. She says, making a mess again. Often use a little bit of, if I've used DSP, I usually use a little bit of DSP or one of the feature images I usually use on the inside as well, but I'm not going to this time because I haven't got any leftover bits and pieces. But that, perfect, nice insert so it's easy to write on, not worrying about the darkness of the card that the blank is using, which is Shaded Spruce. used up a bit of me twine, had a little play with a stamp set that I'm not 100% convinced I'm going to get many more uses out of, if I'm honest, but I want to have another go at heat embossing with it, and I'm still thinking I might go with Yvonne's idea of doing the bands of colour, maybe. And another project. So that's 3 projects I've made this afternoon in total. The one that was on the last video, the one I shared at the beginning of this video, which is this one, totally different. I don't think that there's a style that's dead obviously mine. I don't do the same thing over and over. I must admit, having said that, I use this technique of sort of like clustering flowers quite often, but yeah, really enjoyed my afternoon of craft. And now I have to go back to being a mum and a wife and making sure that we all eat, and then I think I've heard my husband come upstairs, so I suspect he's finished work for the day because he's had to work today. So it might be a little bit of chill out with the husband tonight time. So I'm going to reverse you so I can say goodbye properly. Ta-da! Turned round. Oh, my makeup's smudged a bit. Happy with that. I hope you enjoyed. Clearly I now need to work out how to edit this and upload it with a schedule on, so you don't get all the videos on one day. So this will probably come out some point next week or the week after, whenever there's room. There's a few things that are sort of pre-planned on the blog, so I try not to push everything out at the same time, if you know what I mean. If you did like it, please do thumbs up. If you didn't like it, thumbs down, that's fine. Leave me a comment. It's always nice to hear from people. However, if you're going to be nasty, don't bother, because I'm just going to delete it, because there's no need for that. The whole trolling, being nasty on the internet. Why people feel the need, I have no idea. So please don't do that, because it's just going to delete it. It's a waste of your time, really. And it doesn't bother me. Say whatever you want. It's not, I don't care. Don't know you. Don't care what you're thinking. There's only a few people in my life that actually care what they think. You're not probably going to be one of them if you're going to be nasty to me. So yeah, but please do subscribe. I make no promises as to when I will next do a video. It won't be tonight, so absolutely I can make no promises as to when I will next do a video. So you're best probably hitting the notification bell, because then it'll go, hello, you remember that inky fingered cat that you liked? She's actually bothered to make another video. So do that. I'm conscious I'm like well over to the side of the video. I'm also conscious that I think that the camera's somewhere over here, and I'm looking over here, but that's because I can't work out how to do vlogging and look at the right place on the camera. Yeah. Until next time, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.